There is a pecking order in every room, whether you recognize it or not. The powerful are not observing everyone, they're observing the few who distinguish themselves, and the many who simply vanish the moment they enter, not because they are silent, not because they are modest, but because they exude habits that shout one thing: irrelevance. Machiavelli did not write for the masses. He wrote to the rulers, to those who realized that visibility is not loudness, it's about being felt, and when you embody these 13 habits, you don't merely get overlooked, you become invisible to power, to opportunity, to respect. It begins with the first habit. You enter rooms with your energy focused inward. When a powerful person walks into a room, their attention gets bigger. They scan, they size up, they command silently. But the vulnerable man enters, he shrinks inward, his body posture contracts, his energy recedes, his eyes forage the ground rather than occupy space. To the strong, this man is invisible, not even a consideration, because if you don't consider your own existence, why should anyone else? The appearance is the weapon of influence. Vanish and your foes don't have to kill you. You've destroyed yourself. Entering a room is your initial test. Your shoulders should be in front, your eyes should scan purposefully, and your energy should radiate out, not in. Don't wait for people to look at you. Move as if you anticipate being looked at. The second habit is talking with apology in your voice. Even when your message is assertive, your voice betrays you. The rising intonation, the trailing off softly, the overuse of like and sorry. It doesn't matter what you say. If you sound like you're asking permission to speak, people in power will disregard you in seconds. You're not being polite. You're actually saying, I don't think I'm saying, I'm requesting permission. To Machiavelli, words were a weapon, measured, intentional, controlled, not desperate, not shaky, never done to gain consensus. Practice your tone to be flat, calm, and firm. Communicate in low, slow cadences, with fewer words and more gravity. Allow silence to convey your confidence. Never fill the gap just to be heard, because the minute you stop sounding uncertain, folks begin to lean in. The third habit is laughing too easily. Laughter is a social signal. It states, I agree, I'm harmless, I'm here for comfort. But as Machiavelli would have cautioned, he who laughs first gives the power away, particularly when it is not funny at all, when it is nervous, or when you're laughing at that which quietly teases you. Powerful people probe you through tone. They say something risky, snarky, on the cusp of rude, and then they wait, not to determine if you're offended, but to determine if you'll laugh to maintain their favor. The minute you do, they've branded you. You'll always be perceived as secondary. Don't laugh to fit in. If something is insensitive, don't smirk. Go quiet. Create tension in the air. Make them sense your quietness, because when they do not know how to read you, they do not know how to manage you, and that is power. The fourth habit is over-explaining simple things. You are being asked a question, you give your response, and then continue, adding background disclaimers, softeners, and examples, not because it is required, but because you need to define your right to speak. This habit renders you invisible, as it smells of insecurity. Strong individuals don't have time or patience for individuals who narrate their ideas like an audio podcast. No one invited. You expect, if I just say it in simple enough terms, they'll get it. But they believe, if he uses this many words, he isn't worth hearing. As Machiavelli would tell you, the more you say, the more you give away control. Keep your words few and decisive. Answer, then be quiet. Let silence do the rest. Talk as though your time costs money. Make them ask you if they need more. Never assume they do. Because when you talk less, what you say means more. When you talk too much, your worth goes unheeded in the clamor. These are not strange mannerisms. They are subtle disqualifiers. The subconscious signals that say to influential individuals, this one isn't ready. This one doesn't have faith in himself. This one can be overlooked with no repercussions. And here's what nobody tells you. You don't get do-overs with power. By the time you've moved past the error, the room has already moved on. Machiavelli knew that every room is a battlefield, not with swords, but with posture, tone, presence, and silence. And if you don't weaponize those things, you'll be dismissed before your words are even given consideration. But we're not finished. There are more bad habits, each one more cutting than the last, each one accountable for why you've been overlooked, underestimated, and forgotten in rooms that could have changed your life. You weren't rejected, you were invisible, and it was your habits that made it so. You weren't born invisible, you trained yourself to be that way. Every stifling opinion, every swallowed instinct, every time you nodded when you should have walked away, you were whittling yourself into someone forgettable. Influential people aren't blind, they just filter. They read the room and unconsciously weed out those who carry the aroma of compliance, apology, or unclaimed identity. They don't do it to be cruel, they do it because time is short and power only serves other power. The fifth habit is waiting to be invited in. You sit at the table, but you don't speak unless spoken to. You stand at the periphery of conversations, hoping someone will roll out the welcome mat. You wait to be granted permission, socially, professionally, emotionally. This is the demise of presence, because it shouts the one thing Machiavelli cautioned against: reliance on others to validate. When you wait to be included, you put it out there. I'm not sure I fit. Can someone else make the decision for me? Powerful people never wait. They insert themselves, not arrogantly, but definitively, because they understand one thing: value doesn't knock, it walks in. Don't ask, is it my turn? Take the turn, steer the moment, add value fast, then go silent, let your contribution echo. The ones who hesitate are forgotten, the ones who speak once with weight are remembered. The sixth habit is apologizing for your standards. You have preferences, limits, and non-negotiables, but the moment someone questions them, you soften, you explain, you backtrack. Whether it's about how you spend your time, who you date, or what you tolerate, you treat your boundaries like something that needs defending. And the moment you do that, you lose all gravity. Machiavelli understood that standards are not about morality, they're about power calibration. If you apologize for your standards, you make them arbitrary. If you stand by them silently, you make them sacred. Say no without flinching, decline without a backstory, walk away without signaling pain. When your standards are delivered without explanation, they become law, and law commands respect, not permission. The seventh habit is overusing praise. You think compliments build connection, but overuse them, and they become currency with no value. You say things like, "nice job," or "wow, that's amazing," to keep conversations smooth, to show warmth, to align yourself. But Machiavelli would say this: praise, when given too freely, loses its weight and signals the desire to belong, not the strength to lead. When you drown them in flattery, powerful people see someone who is trying to be liked, which means they need them, which means they can be controlled. Withhold praise until it costs something. Deliver it like a reward, not a reflex. Make it specific, rare, and slightly delayed. When you speak admiration with discipline, it stops being noise, it becomes a signal, and the powerful listen to signals, not validation. The eighth habit is mirroring too much. You match their tone, their slang, their laugh, their rhythm. You subtly adjust yourself to fit them. So you think you're building rapport, but what you're building is invisibility, because the more you reflect someone else, the more you blur your own edges, and the moment your identity becomes fluid, they stop seeing you as an equal. To the powerful, unconscious mirroring screams desperation. It says, "I'll become whatever you need me to be, just don't exclude me." And that's when they stop respecting you, because they know you'd rather be accepted than be seen. Keep your natural tone, even if it clashes. Don't match volume or mirror body language, just to smooth things out. Let there be tension. You don't need to dissolve it, because only people with nothing to prove stay solid in the presence of difference, and that solidity creates curiosity. The ninth habit is always showing gratitude first. Yes, gratitude is powerful, but like any powerful thing, timing is everything. If you thank someone before establishing your own presence, you look like a subordinate. Phrases like "thank you for your time" or "thanks for having me" sound polite, but Machiavelli would see them as a silent confession. I believe this interaction benefits me more than it benefits you. That single power imbalance makes you smaller, even if you're talented, valuable, or brilliant. Delay gratitude. Establish presence first. Speak with parity before praise. Let the interaction reveal mutual benefit before expressing deference. Because when you walk into a room thanking someone for letting you be there, you reinforce the lie that you didn't belong. And power doesn't respect what crawled to get in. It respects what walked in with its head up. These habits don't scream weakness. They whisper it. And those whispers are louder to the powerful than any shout. They don't need to analyze you. They feel the signals. And when those signals tell them, this one bends, this one shrinks, this one mirrors, you vanish from their field of attention. They don't hate you. They don't judge you. They simply don't notice you. And that's worse, because when power forgets you, so does opportunity, so does influence, so does the world. But when you kill these habits, something changes. The air around you thickens. People pause before speaking to you. They ask you questions differently. They correct their tone without being asked. Not because you demanded respect, but because you removed every habit that made you ignorable. What's left is presence, and presence is what the powerful cannot afford to overlook. You don't become visible to powerful people by trying to be seen. You become visible by becoming undeniable. Most people beg for attention. They perform, they soften, they seek approval with every movement, every phrase, every nervous smile. They think visibility is something to ask for. Machiavelli knew the truth. Visibility is claimed, not granted. And the moment you drop the behaviors that dilute your presence, the world begins to react. Not because you got louder, but because you stopped signaling weakness. The final 4 habits dig deepest into your identity. They are core leaks, the kind that define whether you're taken seriously or erased. The 10th habit is constantly seeking emotional safety in conversation. You enter a room and immediately look for friendly eyes. You read everyone's tone before speaking, measure their facial reactions to every word, and adjust mid-sentence, softening your opinions or walking back your honesty. You do this because deep down, you want everything to stay smooth. You're addicted to emotional safety. But here's the Machiavellian reality. He who fears conflict will always serve the one who doesn't. Real power creates tension without blinking. They enter spaces and say things that unsettle. They ask questions that challenge. They allow discomfort to hang in the air because they are not dependent on emotional smoothness. When you are constantly trying to keep things nice, you become a social janitor, cleaning up the mess at the cost of your own presence. Let people feel uncomfortable around you. Let your words land heavy. Let silence stretch. Let the moment breathe. Even if it burns a little, because when you show no fear of emotional chaos, people instinctively begin to respect you. Not because they like you, but because they can't move you. And that's the beginning of influence. The 11th habit is avoiding taking up physical space. You sit with your legs crossed, shoulders inward. You minimize hand gestures and shrink into the corner. This isn't humility. It's submission through posture. It's your body saying, I'm not a threat. Don't mind me. Machiavelli felt that every room is an arena, and in every arena, your body communicates before your words ever reach. Powerful people see that dude in the corner, with the great opinions and no body presence, as irrelevant. Because if your body does not stake out the environment, your words will never be heard. Sit like you own the space. Unfold your arms. Keep chin parallel and shoulders squared. Don't blink when eyes turn in your direction. Allow attention to land on you like it's the most natural thing. The body trains the mind, and when your posture demands presence, your energy starts to catch up. You're no longer in the room, you're anchoring the room. The 12th habit is over-identifying with good intentions. This one's harsh because most people think their good intentions will bail them out. They think, I didn't mean to sound weak, I meant well, but power doesn't care what you meant. It only responds to what you signal. Over-identifying with your good heart creates a blind spot. You assume others should see your depth, your potential, your kindness. But Machiavelli would laugh. Goodness, without perception, is useless. Intentions are silent. Signals are everything. Powerful people don't decode your soul. They respond to behavior. If you come off as needy or apologetic, they don't go hunting for the reason. They just decide you're not sharp enough, not present enough, not ready. Stop thinking you'll be rewarded for what you meant. Start owning how you come across. Adjust your behavior, not just your intentions. Because the ones who rise are not the kindest. They are the ones whose presence commands perception. The 13th and deepest flaw of all is treating influence like something to be earned. You believe that influence must be earned first, that you must prove yourself, wait your turn, serve long enough, and be liked enough, and then maybe you'll be taken seriously. But Machiavelli would tell you this: influence is never earned, it is assumed, and if assumed with enough conviction, it becomes real. Those who carry power walk into new rooms with the unshakable posture of someone who is already someone. You just haven't realized it yet. Not arrogant, not loud, just anchored. They don't ask for attention, they don't wait for credit. They move like the room should adjust to them, not the other way around. Stop thinking your work speaks for itself. It doesn't. Stop waiting for approval to act like you matter. Start moving like someone who knows the spotlight is inevitable. When you treat influence like something to be claimed, you become the kind of person others start watching before they know why. And that is when you become visible, not because you fought for it, but because your existence could no longer be ignored. You've now seen the full picture. 13 subtle habits, each one quietly erasing you from the minds of those who could elevate, empower, or open doors. The tragedy is, you've probably carried these habits for years, not because you're weak, but because no one ever told you they were invisible armor with holes in it. But now you know, you can't unsee it. You can't unknow what your smile, tone, posture, and reactions are saying. When you think you're being polite or blending in for safety, you're not blending, you're fading. And the room doesn't care unless you stop hiding in humility, stop leaking insecurity through manners, and stop shrinking yourself in the name of peace. When you drop these habits, something happens. You don't just enter the room registers you. And when it does, power starts shifting, eyes start adjusting, because suddenly there's a presence they can't ignore. A man who carries no apology, no softness, no hesitation, only weight, only stillness, only signal. And in Machiavelli's world, that's how kings are made. You were never meant to be invisible, but the world teaches invisibility early. Don't be too loud, don't make others uncomfortable, be nice, be patient, wait your turn. So, you complied, you softened your presence, you dulled your tone, you made your power easier to digest, until even you forgot it was there. But Machiavelli would call this what it truly is: self-eraser, not humility, not nobility, but a slow and subtle death of presence. The powerful were taught differently, or they unlearned what the world taught them. They realized that presence is not earned by years of loyalty, or by silently doing good work, or by waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulder and say, "Now it's your time." They understood something most people never will. Visibility is not given to the best, it is taken by the bold, and that kind of boldness doesn't shout, doesn't perform, doesn't fake. It stands still, certain, unapologetically solid in its own identity. Now, look back at all 13 habits. Every single one was a micro-surrender, a gesture, a word, a movement that said, "I don't trust my value, so I'll cushion it, I'll explain it, I'll tweak it." But that ends with this error. This isn't about getting cocky. This is about becoming unstoppable. You want to be noticed by influential people. You want to demand respect in every room. You want opportunity to seek you out without having to pursue it. Then you have to start the complete erasure of these 13 habits from your stance, from your voice, from your automatic response, and substitute in edge, in gravity, in presence so piercing that people second guess how they speak with you. Here's what that looks like. You enter a room, not quickly, not slowly, but like a man who's not searching for something. You talk when you want to, not when asked. You allow your sentences to hang in silence, not questions. You don't seek warmth. You exude gravity. You don't mirror, you anchor. You don't move to fill the silences. You allow the silence to test them. And when someone attempts to size you up, whether through sarcasm, condescension, or friendly jousting, you don't become defensive, you don't laugh uncomfortably, you don't adjust. You simply look at them, calm, cold, collected, as if to say, you can't compartmentalize me, you don't know what I'll tolerate, you don't know what I'm capable of. And that doubt is the only thing that keeps you in safety, because that's what visibility to the powerful really is. Not approval, not praise, not validation, it's volatility. The sense that if they ignore you, they will come to regret it. That if they underestimate you, they could be mistaken, very mistaken. And so they watch, they wait, they ask what you think, they give you space, they listen for longer than they ought, they observe your response, not because you compelled them to, but because you left them no choice. So from today forward, never again think that politeness is your money, it's presence, and presence is constructed by subtraction. You subtract apology, you subtract explanation, you subtract seeking approval, you subtract softness that has not been earned. What's left? The actual you, undeniable, unshakable, unignorable. Because once those habits are eradicated, there is no longer dilution, no longer camouflage, only signal, only force, only the heavy gravity of someone who doesn't perform power. He simply is power. And when that's who you become, even the most powerful in the room will feel it. Because you're no longer in the room, you've become the center of it, without even attempting.